Welcome to TechZine TV.
Welcome to TechZine TV. We're at SAP Connect in Las Vegas, and we're talking to Tony Harris. He's Senior Vice President and Head of Marketing and Solutions for the SAP Business Network at SAP. Welcome.
Thanks, Ku.
Let's start with an easy one, because you're responsible for the SAP Business Network. For people that are watching that don't know SAP Business Network, is that like relationship manager, or what are we talking about here?
So like SAP Business Network is the world's biggest business-to-business collaboration network. What that means in essence is we allow or enable our buyer customers and supply chain customers to more easily connect with their trading partners. All right, so that's bringing their systems that are typically designed to support internal processes and really connecting those for transactional collaboration, for data sharing with those trading partners that are external to those systems. So really facilitating that seamless flow of transactions and data, which in turn provides, improved efficiencies, far better visibility of your entire supply chain, and ultimately help you be more compliant and make your supply chain more resilient.
Does it only work with SAP products or also with third parties?
We can connect to any system.
Okay.
Obviously, out of the box, native integration to SAP systems.
But it came from the Ariba Network, I believe, isn't it? Because maybe people know that brand a bit better.
Yeah, the Ariba Network brand was around a long time. I guess 25 years old, although we rebranded 5 years ago to SAP Business Network. And a couple of reasons for that. The Ariba Network was known for really supporting indirect procurement. That's how Ariba grew up, right? Ordering your office supplies and MRO items over the network. But then SAP separately had already developed a asset intelligence network and a logistics business network. And so we merged those with the Ariba network, and we also expanded the types of processes and collaboration scenarios that Ariba would support to go more in the direction of direct materials and supply chain. And so we really wanted to kind of create a new brand that was representative of all of these combined processes that we support, and that's how the brand SAP Business Network was born.
What kind of companies make use of this network so extensively? Because maybe we can give an example.
Yeah, look, every company, honestly, literally the world's biggest companies are customers on the business network. We also have, medium-sized enterprises. We have customers across every industry you can imagine. We are very strong in industries like high-tech, CPG, life sciences, industrial manufacturing. Those four industries alone account for around $1.5 trillion per year that passes through the network.
Okay.
We're actually processing $6.5 trillion per year on the network, to give you a sense of how big that is.
And is it only for larger companies or also for smaller companies?
We tend to be medium-sized and above on the buyer side of that network relationship. Obviously the suppliers, and we have many, many millions of suppliers on the network. They are every type and size of company, from literally, sole proprietor, one-person businesses, to, again, the world's biggest businesses are also suppliers on the network, as well as being buyers using the network.
So people could see it as a sort of LinkedIn for organizations?
Look, at one point in time, we were kind of suggesting, and as a marketing person, I didn't want to use somebody else's brand image, LinkedIn, but we were calling ourselves the LinkedIn for business.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. I also, to use another brand, I talk about us being the Match.com of business. We find a buyer and we find a supplier and we connect them.
But is it so that if you really invested into the network and you need, a product, or you need a half a product, just a part of a product, instead of searching for Google for a supplier, you'll search the business network for a supplier?
Look, you're already hitting on some of the key elements of the network. Yeah. So on the one hand, our software enables you to transact with those suppliers, right? So as a buyer, you might be sending your purchase orders electronically across the network.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, even today, 68% of companies are still sending their purchase orders as attachments to emails, a PDF attachment, right?
I always get them through emails. So.
Yeah. So when your supplier receives that email, how do you know they've received that purchase order? Because it's an email. You don't get like an instant confirmation, okay? Whereas with the network, that purchase order is sent electronically, okay? Yes, we can also send a PDF attachment, but it gets sent electronically. They receive it in their portal, or their own back-end system can be integrated to the network. So that purchase order you send arrives in their ERP system as a sales order straight away. And then they can do things like automatic order confirmations. Yes, I've received the order. Yes, I can get you those goods to your facility next Tuesday by 9 a.m., right? So that's one part of the network. The other part...
And that's fully automated, or is that a manual as well?
No, that can be... We've got both the portal. So some suppliers will log into the portal to receive those orders, process them, flip an order into an invoice, and send this invoice back to the buyer.
So companies that don't have a really extensive ERP system, they use Ariba to watch the POs come in.
That's right. And that's that same supplier portal they would log into to respond to an RFP that they've received through Ariba or an e-auction, right? That's the same portal we use for them to collaborate on these transactions through the network. But then if you're perhaps a bigger supplier, you've got an IT team, or you're more invested in this, maybe you're looking at thousands of transactions across the network per year, then that can be fully integrated and it's just automated. I mean, we have some suppliers that have over 400 buyer customers collaborating with them across the network.
Okay.
So, on that
do
supplier
you
side...
already have to know who your supplier is going to be? Can you find suppliers as well?
That's where I was going with this. Yeah. So when you typically join the network, you'll do an extract from your ERP system, you'll hand it to us and say, look, there's my 10,000, 20,000 suppliers.
Yeah.
We often find match rates as high as 80%. We've already got 80% of your suppliers on the network, transacting with other customers. And then we'll go bring those remaining suppliers onto the network. So the transactional collaboration is one piece. But then secondly, it's about finding new suppliers, right? So, and this is one of the beauties of the network. In post-COVID era, although supply chain disruption was happening long before COVID, but we tend to talk about it only since COVID happened, right? Admittedly, there's been more supply chain disruption since COVID, but companies are constantly trying to find new sources of supply. And as you say, going onto a search engine is not the best way to find a supplier.
Yeah, sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. Yeah.
When you're looking for very specific goods or services, but you want certain criteria, you're looking for a company that can deliver to a certain area, has got certain sustainability credentials, etc. You can't really capture that in a Google search. You need a system the data has been structured in a way for you to easily search like that, and that's where the network comes into play. And so suppliers join the network, not just to transact with their current customers, but to be discovered by the world's biggest buying companies that are using the network. And so our buyer customers use the network for exactly that, to discover new sources of supply. So in times of supply chain disruption, they find the network invaluable to very quickly find a new supplier that can provide a certain type of good or service to a certain part of the world, and meet those other credentials that they've got in place. And then we're just about to open that up to all of our public cloud ERP customers as well. So even if they're not using the network to transact on today, they can search the network to find those new sources of supply.
So if they need 2,000 new desk chairs or 2,000 new laptops, they can just put up an RFP on the network.
It's not even, we call it a discovery posting. Yeah. It's not even like a full RFP. It's like hey, I need 200 desk chairs next week. You put it out there, and the network will match suppliers that fulfill those categories of goods and the other criteria that you defined. The suppliers get notified that they've been matched to an opportunity, a lead. They've even got AI that they can use to help write their response to that mini bid, if you will. Yeah. And then if they're successful, the buyer contacts them and says, "Yeah, I'm gonna award you the business." And like I say, this is separate to the bigger kind of structured RFP process. In fact, I was just talking to a supplier a couple of weeks ago, and they were telling me that last year they responded to 68 discovery postings from buyers, and they were awarded 66 of those. Okay. So a massive new source of business for suppliers that are on the network. Many suppliers are growing their business 2x, 3x by being discovered by new customers on the network.
And before this interview, we had a brief conversation, and you told me the network was relaunched last week in a totally new platform. What has been changed? What has been improved?
Sure. So we've basically re-engineered the network to be fully on BTP, SAP BTP.
It's a new technology stack of SAP.
Yeah, the BTP has been around a little while, but it is the core development environment and a whole lot more than that for SAP applications. And so the entire network has now been re-engineered to run on BTP, and that provides a whole host of capabilities, right? First of all, it's supercharged and turbocharged and put a nuclear fusion reactor on top of it, right? I mean, it now scales to any capacity you can imagine. It means we can offer much faster response times. We can offer better service levels. It also means that the system is more extensible, because with SAP BTP, you get SAP Build, which is low-code, no-code extensibility capabilities through APIs. So now our customers and partners can build their own extensions on top of the network. But it also, Joule is obviously native to BTP, so it opens up even more capabilities for us to leverage SAP's Copilot, Joule.
Yeah, Joule's the
AI Copilot that SAP have developed. So we've already got scenarios on the network now that leverage Joule. I can simply ask, where are my goods? Where's my container? So the logistics part of the network will then go find the goods that I've ordered and whereabouts in the world is that container on the back of a ship in the middle of the Pacific Ocean.
So the technology stack improved the performance of the software and made it more extensible.
Correct.
Did you also re-engineer the UI?
And the UI, thank you. You sure you don't work for SAP?
No, I don't.
So we now have standardized on the Fiori, what we also call UI5. So the UI is now consistent with other SAP applications.
And is the AI integrated in that as well
Yes,
already?
That's right.
Or is it coming?
No, we have some AI use cases today, and there's more and more AI use cases coming. And in fact, you'll hear about a new native AI application in the keynote in an hour's time, I guess.
So you can tell me already.
I'll touch upon that one in just a second. But the other thing I just wanted to call out as one of the benefits of now being on BTP is, around the world, there are more and more data sovereignty regulations beginning to spring up. Okay. Now, a network in its very nature means transactions flowing from a buyer to a trading partner, a supplier, a logistics provider, whatever. That data's got to cross borders. But with the data sovereignty rules, data cannot leave the country. And so our engineering team have done something that's pretty incredible. And they have now federated the network. What that means is we're now standing up new instances of the network. We just launched Kingdom of Saudi Arabia last week. The original network is based in the US. We now have KSA and EU. Next year, we're opening an India presence.
Does that mean you can't do business anymore with companies in the US?
This is the impressive thing.
Yeah?
I mean, there's magic going on here from our engineers, the super clever people, and the network is still, in essence, one global network. But where we stand up these new federated instances, data doesn't leave the region. So we comply with the data sovereignty rules. So it's a no-copy data model where you still collaborate with somebody on the other side of the world, but the data does not leave your country. So, and we have one single what we call trading partner directory. So that's that yellow pages, if you will, of all the millions of trading partners that are on the network. That's centralized, but distributed at the same time across all these different network instances. And then transactions, collaboration happens, but data doesn't leave the country. So it's a pretty unique capability.
But the EU is one federation, though.
That is one federation today.
And the UK?
UK is, if you weren't aware of this thing called Brexit, UK, is no longer part of the EU.
No.
We tend to follow still many of the EU policies, right? But who knows? Maybe there'll be a requirement at some point to stand up an instance just in the UK.
They're part of the EU for now.
There you go.
Okay, it gives a pretty good impression of the business network and what it can do. Do you think it's beneficial for smaller companies to use it, or do you think it's primarily more for the larger?
No, again, we talk about the two personas, the buyer and the supplier. On the buyer side, it tends to be medium to large companies.
Okay.
It'd be great if we can get the solution to the point where it's also suitable for smaller companies. On the supplier side, as I said, we have literally sole proprietors, as well as the world's biggest companies are suppliers on the network
That
to
you
the
make a
world's
good
biggest.
product, you can sell it to anyone, right?
Yeah, sure.
I mean, that doesn't matter how big the company is.
Yeah, that's right. So, we're constantly striving to expand the target market that the network can fulfill. In fact, network now comes as an embedded entitlement in our public cloud ERP offering, also known as Grow.
Yeah.
So in the finance premium package, you get a network entitlement, as well as in Rise, the private cloud environment.
Yeah, it's already part of Ariba.
It's the network is already embedded in Rise.
Yeah.
So we're now seeing thousands more buyer customers getting access to the network, which in turn will bring on millions more suppliers onto the network and a lot more commerce flowing between them. So we'll very quickly see that 6.5 trillion number, bless you, go crazy, right?
Yeah.
Who knows how far it's going to scale.
Okay. Thank you, Tony, for this nice conversation about the business network. I hope the people at home found it interesting as well. And we'll be back with more from SAP Connect.
Thanks, Koen. Good to talk.
Thank you for watching TechZine TV, the channel about enterprise technology that brings you IT insights and analyses from events all around the globe. We cover everything, everywhere. Visit techzine.eu for more written in-depth articles and analysis, or keep watching techzine.tv. Don't forget to subscribe to our channels and share your favorite videos with your colleagues. We'll see you soon.